we are collaborating with youth ministry in SID region to impart knowledge to the youths in terms of disaster management, and that is disaster risk reduction concepts. We have come to realize that we need to disseminate and to work with the youths who are very much energized to reach out to the community because they are part of the community. And in our church, we have many communities all over the world. And therefore, by engaging the youths as volunteers or the first responders when disaster has happened, or even before, to prepare and to engage and even to help the community recover from disaster situation, it is very impactful within our church realm.
Well, the young people have energy. The young people have potential, the young people have opportunities. I think if you remember when you were young, you were ready to try out anything and go out and do anything. Now, if we don't empower our young people with skills so that they can be useful in their communities and also useful for themselves, by the way, to get good livelihoods, it means they can engage in very negative activities. But we were asked at some point by some people in UNICEF, and they said, the Adventist Church, you are such a big church and you have so many people. How are you empowering them to be useful in the response to disasters? So this is part of making our young people useful in helping others. And as I said, this is a technical area and they need the right skill sets. So a passion is not enough, but the right skills can make them very useful. But you know what? They can also do a lot more for themselves with the skills they are learning. For example, right now for the next couple of days, I'm facilitating the proposal writing. And the proposal writing will not only be for the emergencies, but they can also write proposals to access the funds that seem to be more and more available for youths to do their own projects so that they can employ themselves. So we cry about unemployment, but they could be self-employed if they would have some of these skills.
What they have come to do is to, first of all, let us know that there is a way of anticipating some of the disasters that hit our continent and our part of the continent, and anticipating them, preparing for them. Sometimes you can minimize the impact of those disasters, and we are now learning how to prepare, how to prevent some of these hazards from becoming disasters and how to deal with them when they come. And so what they are teaching us is that now that we have an understanding of that, we need to go back and train young people so that in their communities they're able to assess the hazards that are there that could eventually lead to disasters. They can learn how to prevent those hazards from becoming big disasters, how to mitigate them, how to soften the blow of those disasters, and eventually how to make our communities resilient. In other words, how to enable them to bounce back from a disaster so that a disaster does not completely wipe out a community.
The other nice thing about this particular training is the integration of theory and simulation. When we talk about simulation, we are talking about putting the trainees in a real life situation where they are able to see the reality as of present. So yesterday we took all these trainees to a community in Camille Drift, which is basically an informal settlement, and we dissected the trainees into different sectors. There were others who were doing some need assessment on sanitation and water. Others were doing on HIV/AIDS, and there were others who were concentrating on shelter. And the experiences that were gathered from interaction with the community were very much insightful and very practical. And out of this, we were then able to develop problem trees and appreciate problems not as being experienced by ourselves as trainees, but from the perspective of the communities so much affected by those problems.
I came here for this ADRA training, and I've learned a lot of things, like how can I impact my society, how can I answer their needs, what are the tools that I need so that I may be able to ask for help to some donors or people like that. So which means that I've learned how to work in an NGO as we are going to manage the disaster and the risk in our society.
My coming here in South Africa, Mupani Lodge, to come and learn more about ADRA has been very interesting, such that many of the things which I didn't know, I've come to discover them here. Mostly, as SDHH is well known only for spiritual matters, where we have trained a lot of people in spiritual matters, but on social activities, we are lacking behind. And this has been new to me, that we have got ADRA, which deals a lot with the social things which people need. So as we went out and through the training, when we get back home, Zambia will never be the same.
From this seminar, I learned the importance of culture when we do needs assessment in communities. The community are the experts of their own environment. Therefore, it is not proper that we may assume there are problems for them. They are the ones who help us to find out what their real problems are. And from there, we also are able to find relevant strategies to intervene.
In my language, isiZulu, we say, imfundo ayikukelwa, meaning you never are too old to learn something new. And I'm here and I'm learning as a leader, I'm learning new things. We are put in, a class situation and we are learning writing project proposals and how to identify risk and minimize it and mitigate it. All these things we have learned in this training. And I want to appreciate Sister Hannah, who is the leader of the delegation from ADRA Africa, who have come here to train us. We are really, really impressed by their professionalism and their dedication and enthusiasm as they teach our leaders to be ready for disasters and manage them.